everybody.
Oh my goodness, I don't even have my thing on.
It's Sunday, and we're calling this Speak Out because we didn't do that on Thursday because the universe, well, I don't know, solar flares and whatnot, but there were some internet things happening, and it was like, legit because I read an article about it. Although it didn't give a lot of information, by the way. It was just kind of like, hey, yeah, some servers were down.
And it wasn't just...
No, it was like Cloudflare and YouTube
Yeah.
and Google and some others. And yeah, so it was kind of, it was something, who's it, what's it. Anyway, hello, everybody. Do say hello in the chat so we can say hello back. Otherwise, I do not know that you're here. We like to know that you're here because we are both arty and friendly bunch of folks. And that's how I know that, because you say it in the chat. Now, if you're watching on replay, love you just the same. We really, really do promise that. But the only way that I know that you've watched it is that you tell me down below in the comment section. You say, hey, watching on replay, or hey, I really enjoyed today's thoughts. And then I shared this because I'm feeling extra frisky and whatnot. It's all that down below.
All that.
Give those thumbsy upsies if you haven't done that. In the meantime, okay, and I'm going to look. Okay, and sound is better. And that was even a weird thing because it was like, it just, there wasn't anything. We just restarted it a couple more times and all of a sudden, boom, everything's back to normal.
So it was an update somewhere. We don't know where.
Well, I don't know if it was an update or just things got wonky because of the server stuff. Because there's a lot of cloud-based things and who's it, what's it. So I don't really, there are things.
Bumped up stuff and bumped things off.
I don't know.
Nudge.
This is the best I can explain things. Anyway, okay. This is P over here.
M over there.
Patricia.
Mariah.
And together
we are PM Artist Studio.
My hair's looking weird. I chopped some pieces off.
I did too.
I didn't like things over here that were happening. I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna deal with that.
I know, and I used my little bitty embroidery scissors to trim around my ears.
Did you? I need to turn your little camera thingy on. Okay. So, one quick announcement before I forget, and I will try to say it again later on in the stream. But if y'all haven't been over to Makers lately, or you have and you just didn't see it, Becky is putting on an art retreat. St. Louis, on Columbus. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna read the thing. Just a reminder: mention my retreat in the St. Louis area on Columbus Day. Information is in the featured area. You'll need to put a comment down below, and then she'll reach out to you and get you all hooked up with the info. That's how that all is going to work. Okay. We did PM Art Studio, right? He over there and over here. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Now you need to say hello.
I'm gonna say hello to everybody.
I got new 22.
Red lipstick. Look at this. I got new red lipstick, y'all. It was recommended by Tabitha. Tabitha Speaks. I don't know if you know who she is, but you should. She's wonderful. She's got lots of thoughts and things that I appreciate. But it's the lip bar. And let me tell you, this stuff, it isn't messing around.
Okay, I gotta tell you about this because it's funny. And my little, the thing that comes up when I have a plug into Firefox. And what do they call
Don't you love it when we explain technical things?
And one of the things that it was talking about today was ghost lashes. Well, down below goes, well, that just means that they're not wearing any mascara or false eyelashes anymore. They're emphasizing the lips.
I'm trending without even knowing it. Although I am not giving up my mascara because I like the way it's a nice finishing look.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So the emphasis is on the cheeks and the lips rather than the eyes. And I think that that's an interesting commentary on our present day
events. Yeah, we're about to get into some of that here in just a second. Let's get everybody hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. That's hello. Blanket hello. I'm going to do a more official one here. All right, we've got Alice Goes Nomad and Nina Apome. That's April. Art Curious by M&W. That is Miriam. Hugs and please be safe, Miriam. Love to you. Bartender's Daughter Becky, Carrie, Cookie Wookie, that's Mo, Darcy, Dana, Diane, Eddie, Emma, Estella, Gray, like Gray. Handy Scandy, that's Nancy. Hoarder Paper Crafts, that's Mamie. Jackie is here. Jeanette, aka Janette. Jenny, Jenny, and then Jen. Those Katie. It's Katie's fiddly bits, I think is, because wasn't that right? Am I remembering that correctly? Let me know. Joni's here. Yutha, Carla, Lindsay, Lizzie, Jean, Marcia, Markle, Michelle with one L, Mixed Media Mess, that's Lori. Painting again, that is Sandy, Patricia Pfeiffer, Paula, Rosemary, Shannon, Sherry, Tegan, Tina, Tutu Holly, that is Tammy, Veronica Johnson. If I missed you, give me some extra pinky hello hands. It wasn't on purpose, but that was a long old list over there. Dawn is here. I got everybody else. So, give me some extra pinky hello hands. Paula. Hello, Paula. Ann Lar. Hello, Ann. We need to swap ATCs. Please reach out to me. I know that's a big ask, and just, but I really do want to do that. But like my brain, I'm like a goldfish sometimes.
Thank you. Oh gosh, and it just went away.
Charmaine's
just moving too fast. Okay, and I'm top chatting, so I.
Oh, Veronica loves your shirt. Is that what you're?
Yes, and she also loves
penguin hand.
Your lipstick.
Thank you.
But I lost her.
The lip bar. I haven't put it over on my list yet. Oh. I'm just getting acquainted with it, so I didn't want to, But I do. It's punchy, and like for the most part, that's pretty impressive. And look, like even on my coffee cup, that other stuff I wear doesn't do that. It's kind of a reapply frequently, and then it gets kind of weird. This I'm digging. All right, so I'm going to read first because I wrote a thing, put together a thing for y'all. Because otherwise, if I, it's one of those things like you think you have it in your head, but then as you go through it, you forget things or whatever. So it was very important that I had it all down, and I wanted to stay on point and get it out to y'all. Now remember, this was our Thursday thoughts. Yeah. So we were kind of thinking this prior to the No Kings protest that all went on yesterday. I would love to know, let us know in the chat if you were able to attend one, support somebody that did go to one, or you just really were inspired and moved by people showing up yesterday. Because let me say, it has been, I know I've teared up a few times on watching some of the things that I've seen, but this was kind of prior to that, but also then bring it around to art, because what does art have to do with resistance and protest? Because it is important. It is important for us to acknowledge these things. And
art has always been a form of resistance.
100%. And that is why
forever
we're kind of calling this one the art of resistance. What is the value of art in protest? Sometimes it begins quietly. A thought scribbled in a journal, and we've all done that. A small ATC layered with meaning, or simply showing up and creating together. I feel like sometimes that us showing up here together is resistance in itself. And let me tell you, the reason I know that is because there are people that do reach out that recognize that it is resistance. So in those moments, art becomes a quiet act of resistance, not always loud, but always brave. Art has always held power, not just as something to admire, but as a way to challenge, to question, to comfort, and to heal. And we know that here with you guys. Healing is a huge part of what the art does around here. And I know that. That's one of the reasons many of you came to even just journaling, is it was recommended as a way to help you heal or deal with the things that you're going through, both physically and mentally. Okay. Whew. Sometimes it's an image that says that words cannot, cutting through language, culture, and borders, carrying messages for those voices that aren't strong enough yet, or who have been silenced together. This is where the true power of art lives, lifting up shining light and speaking for those who cannot. I'm doing my best to hold it together, y'all. Okay, so.
And the other thing that I want to mention right now is that our demographic.
I was just about to, that's where I was going with this.
Because I sat next to two ladies, well, actually three. One who had a severe urinary tract infection, who actually, I mean, she showed up, and I could tell she was very uncomfortable.
Any of us that have had that know that, and yeah. It's not one of those things like, you know, you think you kind of wake up in the morning, you feel all right, but I mean, it can quickly turn. I actually had to go to the emergency room because of one once. So, yes, the color of our skin, the fact that we are who we are and where we live is privilege. And we take that seriously. In times we fear, misinformation and control are used to divide and silence. Creativity becomes its own kind of defiance. It's risky to put your truth into the world, and that's why community matters so much. The artists who stand up, speak out, and share with their hearts need others around them who are willing to say, "We've got you. Keep going." Recently on a video I watched, you know, I've mentioned him before, Sunum Cho, and I know I say that probably not the way that it's supposed to be, but God, I love that man. He just, he's really cool, but
talks really fast.
Well, because he's doing shorts. I keep telling her that. Education makes you know better. Enlighten makes you be better. There's a difference. There are a lot of educated people. And one of the things sometimes that really irritates me is that on paper, I am not educated. I only have a high school degree. I didn't go to college. I went to college for a little bit. I visited.
Well, you spent a lot of time there as a child.
I did. But unfortunately, they don't give you a participation award for that. They just don't. So that does irritate me sometimes, because I wouldn't necessarily be lumped into that. That isn't the demographic that I hit. But I do feel enlightened, and I strive to be educated.
And I do a lot of that is due to her parents.
100%, actually. And that's why we were that's why we're striving, and that's what we're striving for here. Not just knowing, but being. Being kind, being open, being willing to listen, learn, and grow together, to hold space for one another with respect, kindness, and accountability. This little corner that we've built together is more than just about art. It's about how we choose to show up for each other every single day. With every layer pulled, every print made, every page filled, we carry forward the legacy of those who came before us, those who resisted, who spoke truth, who stood their ground. We don't meet fear with anger, but with vision. We don't answer chaos with division, but with courage. And always, we lead with love and light. I was also inspired by some posts, and there was a lady that I reached out to. So some of those words there came from her post. I didn't feel that it was right to kind of, you know, say who she is or whatever, but acknowledgement of that she inspired me just even in a Facebook post. And I hope that that is something that resonates with you guys, even if you are too scared to go out to a protest. You can make signs and post them online. Inspire others. Go to the, you know, inside the groups online. Be a part of that. There's community there if that is something that you want more of this. We do our best to keep this arty and friendly. But this is why it is important to say our art is our resistance. This community is that. And I hope that many of y'all, I feel like you do. You show up. So therefore, you are part of it. And we thank you for that. That being said, I was talking with Eddie about this. He also kind of, you know, he was like, because, you know, I try to engage as many of y'all that are that I do speak with regularly who are in tune and see what else is going on in the community. And also the fact that you are our friends. And he had some really awesome suggestions. And so I'm going to move P over to the top side. Or do you want to read through some of that first and then end up on the one that Eddie sent us?
And also the one that Sonia sent.
Oh, and then, yes, and Sonia.
Because I think you can see some similarities.
I know, that's what I told her. I said, I cannot believe. And it was just one of those things where, again, it all just...
I know, and Eddie, I know you're there today, and when I saw this, when Mariah showed me this, I said, "Oh, siquieros."
Oh, yes, and we should have worn our, our stand-up shirts that we, Pete did the artwork, and then I made them into shirts or whatever, but hers is dirty. So we also thought it was kind of funny that since we had to move from Thursday, see, I was be prepared to modify your plan.
Mm-hmm. And then mine says...
She's the side quest one.
I'm the side quest.
So we figured that those matched up pretty good.
And Marcia, are you here today?
Yeah, Marcia's here.
Notice. And actually,
I got mine.
Two of these, because remember, one of them broke when I was trying to fix the fastener.
Yeah.
On mine, so I took beads from yours
and merged them. There you go.
But now this one is just as is. I just added a little dangle to the angle. And I love this clasp on this one. I'm big on clasps. And not all clasps are the same. Okay, so this artist is Domingo Uloa. Domingo Uloa. And I hope I'm saying that right, Eddie. Please correct me, and it will not upset me at all. And Braseros. Remember the whole Braseros movement? This was when we actually invited these people in as farm laborers.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s. Well, maybe even
I think it was
50s and 60s.
Right, because that artwork was actually done in the 60s. And so it was something that had been around for a while.
Yes.
For, at least 10 years or so.
Because they were farm laborers. They were there, and we didn't have enough people to supply that need. And this happens a lot in countries. It happened in Germany. Our Arbeiters, they were the foreign workers that came in to fulfill jobs that were not, there weren't enough people there to do those jobs. So that's always a part of it. And then, okay. Good. Yeah. So I thank you for sending that, Eddie. And I will get a screenshot of that when we go topside.
Oh, okay, but you're gonna read some things.
I'm going to go over some others that have gone before us, because it's important to recognize that historical context in which we're moving today, and how we move today is dependent on our past so very much, and that's part of the educational process. And I can't. It was moving so fast that I just read it. It said, formal education is not the only way to become enlightened. And I'm trying to paraphrase there. It isn't. You can educate yourself. And this is one of the things that I think our present educational system fails to do, is to prepare students to learn on their own. Because our society, our world moves so quickly, you've got to be able to educate yourself.
Yes.
And I'm not sure we do a very good. And educating yourself does not mean learning a book full of facts. It's learning how to think and how to make yourself a better citizen in our world. Okay, so artists influenced by Domingo Uloa and Braseros. First is Carlos Almaraz. He was a member of the Los Four. I don't know why they say four and then say cuatros, but one of the first Chicano art collectives. Almaraz' urban, often political pieces reflect Ulloa's social concerns. Judith F. Baca, creator of the Great Wall of Los Angeles, one of the largest public murals in the world, chronicling the untold history of marginalized communities. Look her up, Judith F. Baca. Baca's mural work echoes Ulloa's dedication to giving voice to oppressed laborers. Los Four. Okay, they are Frank Romero, Gilbert Lujan, Roberto de la Rocha, and Carlos Almaraz. This collective directly expanded on themes that Ulloa explored: Mexican-American identity, labor, and cultural pride. And I want to talk about this cultural pride for just a minute, because yesterday there was a young man who had the Mexican flag on his back, and I thought, some people find that offensive. I don't find that offensive at all.
Especially
He's
in Texas.
proud of his heritage, and it's just like if we were to carry a German flag, which my ancestry
Yours
is
really
German.
isn't. I went back. I did her. What was it? The family tree thing. It may have been way.
It was
way.
At one point, KL.
Now my dad's side, there's
yes.
a direct little,
So
connection.
I know that there's a German heritage there somewhere.
Yeah.
But anyway, that would be, like me saying, oh, I'm that's my heritage. Because the only people here who don't have a flag to fly are the American Indians, our indigenous population. They were here. All the rest of us came from somewhere else, folks.
Facts, y'all.
Okay.
Genealogy.
O. Vasquez. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Eddie, help me out. Often called the godfather of Chicano art. Vasquez focused on working class Chicanos, echoing Ulloa's deep concern with laborers and daily life. Irena Cervantes. Her work weaves labor, feminism, and indigenous identity into a visual language inspired by Ulloa and the broader Chicano movement. Esther Hernandez and Malaquis Montoya, both artists directly engaged with farm worker struggles, the legacy of Cesar Chavez, and systemic exploitation, building upon the groundwork of Ulloa's early critiques. Now, Cesar Chavez, you should know him. He was a very active proponent. I mean, to begin with, the laborers didn't even have a place to go to the bathroom. They just had to pee on the ground and, whatever else on the ground. So when they got porta potties, that was
a big deal.
A big deal because it dignifies come on now, folks. Yeah. Jesus. Diego Rivera. Well, I'm not a big fan of Diego. But anyway. He was married to Frida Kahlo. And was it? Yes. Well, Ulloa came after Rivera.
Throw that in there.
She was
having this conversation with somebody else the other day, just, kind of randomly. And she's like, I don't know if you know this, but he was not a nice person. And they were like, no, we didn't really, but okay. It's like she feels very strongly about this, that she wants people to know.
Because I know about it. I don't understand, I don't understand the dynamics.
I don't think that, when they're building out those fancy, those immersive kind of things.
Oh, yeah.
That it really brings people to the show to be like, hey, by the way, he was kind of an ass. Mm-hmm. But, he made good art.
Yeah, he came. Okay, while Ulloa came after Rivera chronologically, Rivera's Mexican muralism was a major influence on Ulloa's social realistic style. So they're connected in a circular way. Okay, why Ulloa's Braseros still resonates. The piece, and I will show you the piece here in a moment, remains a haunting reminder of ongoing debates about migrant labor, borders, and workers' rights. The visual narrative still speaks to immigrant laborers and their descendants who continue to face systemic exploitation today. That's what we're talking about here, folks.
Yeah.
It's a cornerstone work in Chicano art history, showing how personal narrative and social critique can merge in powerful ways. Okay. let's just talk about, and I need to show this. Is it going to show up there?
Yeah, it shows up there.
Is
now our lighting's kind of, because it seems to be overcast this morning. It don't, just give it time, it'll be sweltering. I mean, I got dehydrated yesterday. I had a headache. I had cramps in my legs. I mean, it was hot, and we were only out there for about an hour and 45-ish, maybe 2 hours, all in all.
Okay, so let's talk about something that I like to talk about, which is symbolism. It's a way of showing something without beating people over the head. And
we do a lot of that here. Like, if y'all, this is why, it's if you know, we do a lot of that. Because we like a wink and a nod of, if it's that thing in public when you talk certain ways, you code a certain way, you do.
It is.
So that way, people coming in and that you are in the right place. And I hope that you feel safe, because it's not true of all areas, and that is true, and that carries over to these places here on the internet. There are parts of the internet that, this is kind of like the thing, if you're out after midnight, nothing good's happening, or if you're in certain parts of town at a certain time of night.
Yeah, and I swear it doesn't matter where Mariah and I go together, we always end up in that part of town.
We usually do all right.
Whatever means. And usually we're slightly inebriated. Domingo Uloa, Braseros, that's the title of this artwork, was in 1960. It's oil on masonite. It's 36 by 49 inches. It's quite large. It's in the Smithsonian American Art Museum, and it was a gift of Eugene Treedale and Julia Yu. Okay? Context. Painted during the period of the U.S. Braseros program, 1942 to 1964. So see, it's the 40s, Mariah. Which brought millions of American laborers to the U.S. for temporary agriculture work. Ulloa's work exposed the harsh realities and systemic exploitation these workers faced. Poor working conditions, low pay, discrimination, and dehumanization. Visual elements in Braseros. The barbed wire as a symbol of oppression and confinement. Repetition of figures highlights anonymity and loss of individuality. Intense, somber expressions reflect both suffering and dignity. Muted, earthy tones connect to both land and labor. Themes: labor exploitation, migration, social justice, racism, and class oppression. Ulloa's role in the artist community is often considered an early voice in Chicano art. Ulloa's work predates but deeply informs the later Chicano movement of the 60s and the 70s. And Mariah found these people for me.
Yeah.
Okay, these are people that are more contemporary, and some of them I know and some of them I don't know.
Well, it was funny because we were chit-chatting about it, and she's like, I don't know who this is. I'm like, yeah, you do, and you have a shirt that has art on it that's, inspired by it. I don't know that one was particularly done that way, but it's in that style.
It is her, yeah. His.
Shepherd Berry.
His. Yeah, I'm sure that it is, because I've seen examples of it. As soon as you said it, I knew it.
Okay.
Keith Haring. Okay, he does the little action figures.
Very big during the 80s. And
a lot of it was just, he started out in the, what do you call it, mass transit places underground. What do you call that?
Subway.
Thank you.
We're going to get it together, y'all.
AIDS activism, and he actually died from AIDS. LGBTQ and rights and anti-apartheid.
Yeah.
Okay. Banksy. Anti-authoritarianism, war, capitalism, refugee rights.
Here's a little fun fact for y'all, by the way. The 5 wealthiest people in the world own more wealth than the bottom half
of the entire world.
I think that I'm saying this right. But then the bottom half of the population, many of them don't even have $500 in their bank account. And the fact that I was thinking about this and what we do here, and even the privilege that is there. A lot of those folks we probably aren't even reaching. I don't know that they have the time or the funds to even be here to access this conversation. Something to think about. Yeah.
JR, I don't know this person, large-scale public installations on immigration, poverty, and conflict. Ai Weiwei, Chinese government criticism, human rights, refugee crisis. I do know him. A Shepherd Ferre, the Hope Obama poster, anti-war climate and equality, and I have a shirt that shows Kamala on the front. You've all seen that. Tatiana Fazla Elizdade. That's a lot of, and it's stop telling women to smile. Yeah, somebody says,
you'd smile. You're so much prettier.
You'd be a little bit more pleasant if you just smile more often.
You're so pretty. You should smile more.
Yeah, well, yeah, you. Civil rights and 1960s protest. Emory Douglas, Minister of Culture for Black Panther Party. Graphic art on racial injustice. Faith Reingold, and I had, and I used to read it, her book, and I'm going to get it for Izzy. I left it.
Did you bring the?
It's right down here. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll read it here in a minute. Narrative quilts on race, gender, and civil rights. She's a Black woman, and she's absolutely. The whole book.
Scotty Ross was here. I'm sure she would.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I'm sure Scotty Ross knows her.
She may even,
she may even actually,
right?
Physically know her.
Because she knows some people.
She does. The whole book is illustrated with her quilting, and it's just absolutely stunning. Very well done. Barbara Jones Hogu, Afra Cobra Artist Collective, Black Empowerment. Elizabeth Catlett, Sculptures and Prints on Black Identity and Resistance. Ben Shahn. I actually have a book by Ben Shahn. Very much.
Eddie has to keep telling his brother that to stop telling women to smile.
One of these days they're going to kick you where you're most susceptible. Yeah. Diego Rivera, Murals on Labor, Class Struggle, Anti-Fascism. 1960s. Design offensive counterculture posters. Mm-hmm. Think psychedelic rock posters, anti-war graphics, and student protest posters. And all of them had some kind of, this going like this and stars and neon colors.
Well, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Like the Grateful Dead. I think they designed one of their covers for their album.
Yeah.
Historic and foundational figures. Now, this isn't just in the U.S. This is global. Francisco Goya, the 3rd of May. He did, and I'm sure you've seen it, and it's.
We've talked about it before.
Yes, and it's the guns are pointed at the figure who's tied to a post, and they're, it was Spain. Is where he. Katya Kollwitz, Anti-War Labor Rights Mothers and Children. And some very haunting pictures of Pablo Picasso, Guernica. If you don't know,
that's another one we've talked about.
If you don't know that one, you are really in the dark. And Frida Kahlo, Personal Political Pain, Identity, Colonization. Global Voices. Shireen Nezhat, Iranian Women's Rights.
I want to know more about her.
I do too. And I know the name, I just can't put it.
Right.
And I'm not even sure she's with us. Zanel Moholi, South African LGBTQ and visual activism. Visual activism, people. Tanya Bruguera. I think I'm saying that right. Cuban performance and political art. Okay, boy, I'm going to Wangchi Mutu. Post-colonial identity, feminism, and environment. Art movements and collectives. The Guerrilla Girls. Feminist art collective, gender and race inequality in art institutions. Okay. Act Up. Grand Fury. AIDS crisis, visual activism. Afrocobra. African commune of bad relevant artists. 1960s Black Arts Movement. Chicano art movement. Murals like Judy Baca and Los Four. Recent and digital era. Now this is, I don't recognize any of these, but you may.
Oh, hey. I think that thank you for saying that, Rhonda. So she says she's not sure that she understands what visual activism is. The fact that we are here on this platform having this conversation in this medium is visual activism.
My shirt that says stand up and be heard.
The journal pages that I have been doing for Pride Month are visual activism.
Yeah, and it can be even using just a color. The rainbow, that's a visual.
It can be a color.
This is my Pride bracelet. Got it in Seattle. The first time we went to Seattle. Yeah. In some little obscure shop there.
It's that pin that you wear on your shirt. It's the shirt. It's the, it could be the funky socks that you wear.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be something that screams at you. It can be subtle. It's like Mariah said, it's visual coding. Fabiana Rodriguez, migration, environmental justice, racial equality. Molly Crabapple, Occupy Wall Street, prison abolition, and journalism illustration. And I can remember someone saying, remember the Occupy Wall Street, and people going, that's just so silly.
You know what's so weird stupid. Is like that all happened in a time where like I just really wasn't keyed in. And this is where like I do understand how people cannot be engaged. Like I knew that it was going on.
I didn't. And here's the other thing. I knew what it was about, and I did support it, but I lived in rural Texas at the time.
I was just about to say, the funny thing is during all of that, here in Texas, we did not feel it as much as many of the folks around the country did.
And especially in large metropolitan areas.
It was just really weird. Yes, it did happen here. There were people that were affected 100%, but not to the degree that it was in a lot of other places. Because Brad and I were like, still kind of starting out. We were still able to like buy a house and do things. But then there was like weird stuff that was happening that did make it a little like, but again, that was privilege. That was that we were already kind of set on a path that it didn't affect us in a way that it did a lot of others. And nor were we hanging out or had those people directly near us to really understand what that meant. And we weren't online, and we didn't have the visual ability to access that in a way.
And I think this goes back to a lot of what is happening right now, and the reason that people are not more engaged is because somehow or other they feel it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
And I just say, it will.
And does it have to get that far?
And we don't have to let it get to the point where people are being, rounded up and lined up for the ovens. Molly Crabapple. Okay, just read her. Yeah. Cleon Peterson. Power, violence, and social conflict. I need to do more research on her. The Amplifier Project. Global art collaborations for protest, such as Women's March posters. Okay, that's where we are with that. I want Mariah to go topside for a moment because I want to show Sonia's poster artwork. Oh. You take me topside, Mariah?
I will. Sorry, I was reading chat.
Oh, sorry.
y'all have, I mean, thank you for engaging in the conversation.
I will go back and read it.
Yeah, I plan on coming back, and because
I know I'm missing.
And it was requested that I think I will try. I'm also I've got to get laundry done. I've got to pack today. We're heading off to San Antonio for a few days. The boys will be here tomorrow.
They'll be here next week.
And they'll be here. So for Tuesday and Thursday stream, they will be here. So
Caleb and Josh. And Caleb is going to bring some of his artwork to show you. And I this is wonderful. He's a junior in high school, for heaven's sakes. So, and you know, Joshy just graduated. They just returned from Spain for his graduation trip. And I think that they had a great time. And I'm so happy they did. And it was all very positive.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy to report that. And they got home before all this other stuff started happening. About that too. Okay, are we topside?
We are.
This is okay. And here we are, you know, Minnie, the barbed wire, the hats. And yeah.
Well, and then make the comment. So who is the other? Because when I first showed this to P, she's like, "Oh, that's so and so."
Sicieros.
And I was like, "No, it's not." Because I was trying to find it because I couldn't read the signature on it. And I'm like, I recognize this, but like, you know, I don't know art, and certainly do not know artists as well as P does. But it was really funny that, like, because when I was searching around, that was one of the ones that came out. But I was like, the signature doesn't. That's not who this is. And then finally, I found it. And he is actually in the Smithsonian. And I believe that Mo actually has been dropping the link. She did it earlier. So, and I will create a. So where I was going with that, sorry, I kind of
I should squirrel. Yeah, I need to hand this back to you so that you can.
Oh, I have it all digitally.
You do, okay.
Yeah. So I will try to get that on like a blog post over on PM Artist Studio, or I might just drop it directly into. That would probably be the easiest, fastest thing for me to do. I'll put a link in Makers. I will make a post and then have all of this information. That way, if you guys want to do extra research on any of the folks, and which I have a larger list even than that, I wanted to give P enough of kind of the top fives of each kind of thing, or each movement and time period, but there are even more. Yeah, but I'll get that out there to you guys.
Okay, so this is what Sonia sent. So obviously Sonia she isn't just our art fairy, but she's also an artist.
Yes.
And this was from Etsy, Cheryl Francis.
And I believe that link to Cheryl Francis, she has lots of really cool digital. So if you're kind of feeling like, I want to participate, or, you know, like I don't, you know, this is the lovely thing about collage and mixed media, is that you don't have to be able to draw figures like what Sonia has here. You can find them online, and so she has,
and with permission of the people
yeah, because they create them for that purpose. But that then was the print that P had sent back to Sonia, because Sonia's
in appreciation for all the wonderful things that, you know.
And it just, doesn't it go so beautifully, like how the yellows roll in there, and it just really felt.
And I again, here we're talking about symbolism, and when you look at this space, and I think it's interesting because when you put this next to these spaces and you look at them at the same time, there's an emotive quality there that you don't necessarily, I mean, what I see is not necessarily what you see. This is what makes it art. Interpretation, personal interpretation. And we can look at this and we can say, her eyes are closed. We don't know if she's sleeping, if she's having a moment of quiet thoughtfulness and just, taking a little time out there.
To reflect.
But there is, yes, a reflective quality.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at these and you see some of the eyes, you cannot see because they're underneath the hat. But when you look at, you have three people. Well, one eye is more looking out at you, engaging you, the viewer, with their messaging there. That's important. But the fact that her eyes are closed is also meaningful and can be a symbolic visual gesture. Okay. And I appreciate, I'm putting both of these in my book up here.
And Sonia has posted her work over in Makers, so keep an eye out for her. Because she does beautiful, very I get a lot of feeling from it. Maybe that's because I do know some. Sometimes when you know the people, it has a bit more of the feels in there for you. But I don't know. I mean, when she showed that to me, I was like, can I use that? Can I print that out? It's going to go perfectly with the conversation that we are having about all of this.
Yeah. And just, this started out as just I was just messing around over here on my Braseros, because you can see the Braseros there in the background and whatnot. And remember, I picked up some things on the edge in here, but then I went back in with my Derwent watercolors and did a little bit more, I mean, you can look at this from last Thursday and compare it with what's happening now. I don't know that I'm finished with it, but what I think, I work on these sometimes when I'm watching documentaries or just stupid stuff. Okay, but I do think that there are elements here that are indicative of sort of a mind. There's so many, we're being bombarded with so many things all at once.
Yes.
Sometimes it becomes overwhelming. And I think that this exemplifies that to the extent, and it's totally subconscious.
Yeah.
It's not. And I'm going to, these are ones that I'll show you this paper that I ran over with my chair a couple of times before I realized what was crinkling in the background. I'm going to work on the back of these today, but I have some other things to show you first. Okay, I've been working in my book from Tegan. Thank you, Tegan. Hope you're here today. This page had a brayer off of one of my favorite colors of green, which is kind of like punchy camo green.
Yeah.
And then I just took that and I took my Inktense watercolor pencils, and I will show you what Mariah helped me do, because I told you that the color on the end, you can't even tell that that's a purple, right? Violet. So I scribbled on a piece of paper and she wrapped them on there. Now, Mariah, I did have to go through and put tape on them because they were loose. They were coming loose.
Popping off.
Yeah. And so I've got that. And I'm really thinking that, if you are serious about this, this is what you need to do.
Because she kept complaining about it. I'm like, would you just put the things on the top there? And yeah, I kind of feel like, so Carrie had mentioned, I think that he does his in a swatch book, and he keeps his swatch book out and open while he's working with them. And I know that was a conversation, and I meant to say something about it the other day when we were kind of going through things, but I squirrel here, y'all. There's I have multiple things kind of happening here, and I'm trying to keep an eye on certain things and who's it, what's it. But it did stick. And so when she was kind of yammering on about it again in the evening, I was like, hey, just put them on some stickers and then put them on the pencil, and then it's there. So there you go. Isn't that lovely? And then what was so interesting about this piece, and she hadn't even realized, I said, it really reminds me of the the book cover to the okay, because you gave the one book, but you didn't. Okay, hold on 1 second. Because I mean, it's crazy how much they look alike, but done so differently. Because the book actually has texture and everything to it, but it's still
actual
so
texture.
Your style and whatnot. And it's always gonna bust this book out. Everybody gets real ooh and ollie about it. And so do we, because we spent weeks. I mean, this is definitely an 8-weeker.
There we go. Look there's my Denali. She'll always call it Denali.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, somebody brought up something here, and I'm just going to make a generalized statement about it. Is that sometimes we co-opt symbols, and they don't necessarily mean the same thing to everyone. And you know, that's another thing. This both the beauty and whatever. Now, this particular button here is shell, but I dyed it with alcohol ink, and then I coated it with I don't know what I coated it with, but something that keeps the alcohol ink from coming off.
Probably just the outdoor Mod Podge.
Yeah, and some of you sent me this pine cone. I don't know who you were, but thank you. It's quite
a long time ago.
And of course, I crocheted this wrapper thing here, and it gets stuck. See that? Pulls off some of those gold threads there. Okay, but here this is done with papers from blotting both ink and watercolor. Spent a lot of time on this, and it didn't happen the first time. This represents a breakthrough, because this is my experience in Alaska.
Let's see if she can get
this. This is the turn off when you're headed down to Seward and Whittier.
We were still heavily into Mod Podge at this moment in time, so you know.
Yeah, and also alcohol ink.
I love that piece.
And
that was hard to cut up, that piece, because I was like,
yeah,
that's the original. We did do it digitally, and I think I represented it pretty well. But you know, sparkle, and it's got sparkle.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, how glorious a greeting the sun gives the mountains. John Muir. Okay, this will be. Okay, no, that doesn't pull out. Mm-hmm. All right, so this is my Alaska experience, Mariah. And here's a little, Never measure the height of a mountain until you reach the top. Then you will see how low it was. Dag Hammarskjöld. I hope I'm saying that right. In a flat country, a hillock thinks itself a mountain. A Turkish proverb. Mm-hmm. Okay, doesn't go in there, I guess. And here is an actual mountain. This is in Denali Park. Yeah, I guess that just, I don't know where exactly that's supposed to go. Mountains are not stadiums where I satisfy my ambition to achieve. They are cathedrals where I practice my religion. And this is at the, it's at a center. I can't remember what the name of it is, but here, check it out. Little card there. The ice something, I don't know. I can't remember. There are two sides to this.
You hear the rain out there?
Is that what that is?
She knows she hears something, but
I know I hear something. This here is Mariah's. God, this is so bad.
That's why it needs to be. It needs to be accessed every once. She's okay. So
I need to be careful because I don't want to tear off my washer, because that's.
And you see how warpy it is. So this really tells you what.
But see, she printed it on that. What do you call that stuff?
Vellum.
Yeah, I don't like it. But look isn't that wonderful?
there's a place for it, and especially when you put Mod Podge on it, it goes crazy and wonky. But if you
today is your day, your mountain is waiting, so get on your way.
Yeah, so it can be contained. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
The mountains are calling. I must go. John Muir. And I used to love John Muir, but he was really a racist asshole. It's like some artist. You just never know. He was Scottish-born American naturalist, author, and early. We wouldn't have Muirwood Forest without him. So, you just got to take the good with the bad sometimes. Clouds come and go, the mountains remain. No single mountain ever came to me, so I always go to them. The violets in the mountains have broken the rocks. Tennessee Williams. Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go. T.S. Eliot. Getting to the top is optional. Getting down is mandatory. Ed Viestures. But look at that. Isn't that a wonderful? See, this is that stuff. We had lots of little cards for this one. This is quite the...
Yeah, you know what? That is a very good point, Patricia, because this was sort of before our full-on... Like, we need to get the wax after this.
We do. I don't think we even knew about it then. Now, this is one of the attempts at trying to get what I wanted for my cover.
She was so mad at this. Like, she actually... So we took probably a good couple week break, and I was like, are we going to finish this thing? She's like, I just can't get to it. And I said, okay. Well, usually how I can get her real fired up about things is for me to start messing with stuff.
Yeah.
Remember that? Because you're like, yeah, you're not.
Okay, that's not what I wanted. Give that back.
So she is.
Mountains, according to the angle of view, the season, the time of day, the beholder's frame of mind, or any one thing can effectively change their appearance. Thus, it is essential to recognize that we can never know more than one side, one small aspect of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the little cloud layer with the washer down at the bottom. And this is, I don't know, there was obviously, Mariah. And this is what happens to this. It tears.
Yeah, but it can always be fixed. It's not, just a little patchwork. It's okay. This is meant to be handled.
And look at these beautiful prints. They're not prints. They're alcohol ink.
No. Okay.
Those are the Braseros.
So this has both original art and printables.
Printables. And
those are the printables.
Those are the printables. But boy, did you do a good job on that.
Thank you. It also helps if you put the Mod Podge on it because it just makes them real zingy and very beautiful.
Okay, this is a very apropos.
Bye, Carrie. Thanks for hanging.
Earth and sky, wood and fields, lakes and rivers, the mountains and the sea are excellent schoolmasters and teach some of us more than what we would learn from books or college degrees. Just added that. My father considered a walk among the mountains as the equivalent of church going. Aldous Huxley. Pretty sure this flips out. Maybe it doesn't. Some of these I have to be careful tearing them because there isn't a... I don't know. Maybe that's...
No. Remember, okay. Yeah, see, this is where she gets confused because there is... No, it does, but it flips back the other way.
Yeah, now we're going... Here's the...
I made it complicated.
Moon over the mountains. And so then we have these little drop downs, and look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a little book. Mariah? I think, if I can just figure out how to open it. Or you can write thoughts. I guess I haven't had any. Oh, but look, PM Artist Studio.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us being
and
promoting.
It's bound, and look, here's
oh, look, yeah. Shrinky dink, y'all.
Shrinky dink.
Some fish.
Little fish.
Let me tell you.
I love that part of being in Alaska. Fishing was, I loved it. And I didn't think I would.
Right.
Okay, this is really wonderful because it's one of those things that this tree, and that's Denali in the background. Does not exist
any longer. The tree fell over.
That tree fell. But see that? This little tree points over, and you've got two.
Bye, Lizzie Jane. Love you too.
Two end pieces there. Oh, look, Mariah, it completely broke. We'll have to fix that. Okay, you can tell anytime there's strings involved, this is Mariah. With these, floofy things here. Oh, and this thing back here was actually made into a card. This is just a digital reproduction.
Correct.
Denali. The Koyukon Athabascans who inhabit the area around the mountain have for centuries referred to the peak as Denali or Denali. The name is based on a Koyukon word for high or tall. On August 30th, 2015, just ahead of a presidential visit to Alaska, the Barack Obama administration announced the name Denali would be restored in line with the Alaska Geographic Board's designation, a summit elevation of 20,310 feet above sea level. Now, sometimes you will see it referred to as Mount McKinley. We don't do that. Okay, well, obviously, some of those cards that were all piled in there were made to go in here, but they didn't get to. Okay, now this is part of the Chugach Range, taken from Hope, Alaska.
And I think if you really are interested in this book, I think a lot of it is like whenever I put the thing together, I do think there is video, I think.
And this is, where's my...
It's been a while, and I know that like I did some of it.
This is an interpretation of this. Mm-hmm. This is where you turn off to go to Whittier and Seward. This was really, and this is headed north towards Wasilla. But look at those lovely, lovely colors, fall colors. Alaska is a magical place. And this is also the same. And then this one you've already seen. Oh, glad I noticed that. Okay, so there we go. I'll hand this back to you. You can see similarities here. This is actual texture. This is visual texture.
That was, it was so funny because she's like, oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
And I hadn't.
And I kind of
not thought about that.
Tied back around to some of the other things that we were talking about.
All right, so here we are. And these are the two pages that I did, and I was working on these last time, right? Did I do a little of the work? I think I did. But I've done more. And did a little bit more, collaging a little bit more of pencil work with the Inktense pencils. And if you really look at this, this doesn't have any, what do I want to say? Verisimilitude to any movement or whatever. But I think that you get a certain amount of feeling from this. Anyway,
yeah.
So this was the page that I worked on yesterday, and this is interesting because here's my page that I went ahead and cleared off the small gel plate, because that's what I used to get this. And I had, okay, here are the little.
Oh, thank you. And Mo did, she's so sweet. She went and found the link. Yes. Because it was I think Mountain Sunrise. Pretty sure.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one to revisit. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I went through here, and underneath I had, see this paper? This is mulberry bark paper. Torn out these little squares and put them down. Well, the problem is once I tried to transfer this to here, because of the texture on the paper, it was horrible. It didn't show. So I had to go through with my Vine charcoal, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute because Sonia sent me some more.
Oh, yes, and that I think Ricky was asking. She wanted to see the different kinds.
The different kinds of charcoal. Yes, okay, we're going to talk about that because it is not all the same. This is done with the Vine charcoal, which is the skinny thick sticks, not the chunky square thing, which I got some of those too from Sonia.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I kept those because I want to show you, but this is where I took and stamped it off after I stamped it here. And I thought this was kind of cool because this is my brayer off part, and I think this is going to make a very interesting print, which will tie this book page together with my new book page. Okay? Over there because we want to do that today. I don't know what's going to happen on this page, and I don't even know. But you know, this is something when you're working in these, it's like you don't even have to finish this page today.
Yeah.
Or this week. Or next month. You can come back and forth. I can come back and you know, at some point in time and work some more on this page. Just because I have things that I didn't get to say. And this is important. Up here, this background, that's where I actually wet my brush and came in and applied it to those edges. I left the rest of this like this because I think it's important to see that there is differences. A lot of this is just, you can see scribbles. Some of it is actual texture.
Yeah.
But I think you do get the feeling of a meadow. And if you have mountains, oh my goodness, Mariah, lost one of the cards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they slip out. Once they've been released, they are then slicky.
But anyway, I wanted to show you how this book is coming along. And I love having this available because sometimes I'm not in the mood to start something new, a big project, or I'm tired of working on my book pages, or I want to save them for a live stream. And so this is where I can come in and work and do things in and make art. Okay. I'm hoping some of the people that we passed out, and I'm not going to do the cover until I really have a sense of what I want to do.
Right.
And that's how I approached Mountain Sunrise.
Yeah.
It was
wheat field, as Candy says.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And then it kind of has, and I always say this because I can, Wyatt. It's the girl in the wheat field, and she's looking back at the farmhouse, right? Isn't it Wyatt?
Yeah, and Wyatt. Wyatt. Yeah, there's two of them. And that was his mistress down there on the grass. Nobody knew about her until after he died. They figured it out. Okay, so we got that going there. Happy to have talked about that. Now let's talk about, and I'm so glad somebody asked because.
Oh, and then she used the colored pencils, right? Or the charcoal pencil, those, right? To make the.
No, I used the Durant.
Okay, to make the the wheat field page, right?
Yeah, and I want to talk about the charcoal pencils.
We are having storms. Yes.
We're having what?
We are having storms.
Oh, outside right now?
Yeah. I mean, it's raining.
Oh.
Although, I would say that we are getting more light, so it may have passed, but it was raining pretty heavily early.
That's good. We need rain. Yes, and I do have these all sharpened somewhat. And you can see the gray. I had trouble getting it to sharpen. It kept breaking. And that is one of the things I will say about the, because I have some others. I have a whole 10 of them somewhere. Right. I don't know where the hell they are, but they're kind of frustrating because they do break when you're sharpening them. And you can't sharpen them in the automatic because they'll just, it just eats them up. So I did cut out the box, information on the box to know what these were. These are, and you can tell it's European because of the OUR. Premium soft touch, safe, non-toxic, smooth writing. And they are very nice. Now, the other thing that Sonia sent are these little jobbers. And boy, Izzy, she did you see the one that she had over there? She wanted to know if she could keep it. But these are so cool. And I wished I'd kept the box that they came in. And see, they don't even have any writing on them.
Oh, and it was kind of a nondescript box. It really was a kind of no, it's downstairs.
Yes, you do have. It's in with the paints over here, and you need to hand me the book because I need to read.
Okay.
I need to read the rainbow sheet. Okay, in that box, open that box up. Aren't they in there? Isn't there another package of them? Okay, yes. Okay, so they're called Cozes, and this is a set. Do not separate. It is 12 pieces blending sponge pen, shadow detail correcting tool. Okay, that's what these are, and they come in obviously 2 sizes here. One end is kind of sandy feeling, and this end is completely spongy, soft feeling. So you get different effects, and I have one in this little thing here because they really work well with the charcoal or the charcoal pencils. And they do, this end works, you can tell I've used it, works with spreading out the Derwent. They're great tools.
Okay, so I think that, because there's a lively discussion in chat, and I think that showing the book, this would be a really good moment.
Okay.
It might address, might enlighten. Obviously we didn't plan any of this. As far as how it all kind of, is playing out. But this was a book that, because I've been getting, certain comments and things on some videos that we've posted. And then I came across this because I absolutely love a gentleman named Dan McClellan on the YouTubes. He's actually across a lot of social media. He's a wonderful person, and then he recommended this book by a friend of his. Some of y'all may know him because he's the Naked Pastor. Is that what I think that's his handle.
David Haywood, yes. Who draws and writes as the...
Can you hold that up further to the... Yeah, so that way y'all can kind of get a better...
reaches wide audiences, fanciful and hard-hitting cartoons about spiritual abuse, the church's exclusion of LGBTQ plus people, feminism, and faith and doubt. His cartoons and artwork have found their way all around the world. David and his wife live near St. John, New Brunswick.
Yeah.
He looks like an interesting man. And his dedication is...
He looks sweet. He has a sweet face.
He does. To my family, my wife Lisa, and our 3 kids, Joshua, Jesse, and Casil, who inspire me to be and live my true colors. Okay? And this is copyright. All right, I have to show you what I wrote here. For Izzy, our rainbow. Love, Gigi, and Popsy. And I put the 24th. I don't know what.
I was like, dude, it's 2025.
Saxy, Texas,
She's still
USA.
living her best 2024.
And I want her to keep this so that she can read this to her children.
Yeah, there are certain books that we're kind of like, okay, we get them, we'll pass those along or whatever. But then there's certain books that you keep.
Okay. I love this. So much expression with just a few little.
You know, just some eyeballs and some, you know.
And you can look through this and see. Ricky lived with a flock of sheep. See the little butterfly. Izzy says, that's him right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When one slept, they all slept. When one ate, they all ate. When one bad, they all bad.
When you.
They all dress the same too. Every single day. And I love they put their little sheepy things on hangers.
Proper sheep.
And this one's getting a little fluffy, and I think maybe his is a little tight. He's looking down and going, maybe to lay off the grass for a while.
Mm-hmm.
One day, a new sheep joined the flock. His name was Rainbow. Oh, look at these eyes.
Mm-hmm. They're like, what? Oh my God.
The other sheep didn't like that Rainbow was different. Blend in. I did my sheep voice, but Mariah doesn't want me to. Be like us. Please wear this. See a little sheep. And you can see, look at that eye.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky wasn't sure. Okay, it says she here, and that was he back there. I don't know if that's okay. She wanted to be friends with Rainbow either. Oh,
Ricky is the she. Yeah, there.
Okay, and Rainbow is the he.
Yeah.
But then Ricky had always wanted to do the fun things you saw Rainbow doing. She was just afraid to be the only one. Maybe now that Rainbow was here, Ricky could try it too. And of course, Izzy. Oh my God, this is the puddle stomper.
This is our kid, 100%.
From way back when. As soon as she was able to walk, she went outside and splashed in mud and rain. Ricky and Rainbow jumped up and down. They stomped through puddles. They danced with butterflies. The other sheep told Ricky that she was standing out too much.
Mm-hmm.
What a bad influence. But she wasn't as worried about being so different anymore. One day, Ricky decided to show her true color. You're so brave, said Rainbow. I look fabulous. Look at the size of those eyeballs over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the deer in a headlight.
That happy smile. Love it.
And then, okay, she started chasing butterflies. But Rainbow says, this one says, can I play? Me too.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I love this. The double jump. I never was able to match. I was lucky to just do the other
Me
one.
too. 100%. It might be genetic.
But I remember watching and being in total admiration.
I so wanted to do it.
I can still remember this. And
then I was deathly afraid of, because remember they would do, well, in order to do it, you need those ropes with the plasticky thing. I just didn't want to get hit in the head or take me out. Mm-hmm.
Then one day, the rest of the flock announced a meeting. Were they angry? Flock meeting today.
Yeah.
Up here, look at their looks on their faces.
They're very grumpy.
Everything's changed since Rainbow arrived. You're out of line. Everyone is acting different. We would like to know. Izzy, she pointed out.
Yeah.
Can we play too?
Aww.
No more all being the same. Oh, we've got a black sheep, and a blue sheep, and a pink, blue, and white sheep.
That usually represents the transgender community.
Oh.
See, look, they learning things.
I did not know that. When one slept, others stayed awake. When one ate, others waited until they were hungry. When one bad, others stayed quiet. They could all be themselves. Unique, special, happy. Just like rainbow. That just, you know.
Oh, look at that.
Isn't
that fabulous? I was like, okay. And then I told P about it, and she's like, oh, I'm ordering that book. Okay.
Because sometimes I don't order Izzy books because I just, they're just stupid. And I said, if you want that, we can go to the library and check it out.
Yeah, but she doesn't mean. See, sometimes when you say things like that, people don't understand what you're saying. So I have to say, okay, what she means by that is that there are books that Izzy will want very quickly, and then she reads them once, and then she's really not and they don't they're not books that are ones that you would keep forever kind of books.
They are, and some of the books, and one of the books that I'd like to get back out and read with her again are the ones where the shapes aren't talking.
Yeah. Oh, she loves those. Loves those books. Has gotten those books out numerous times.
And those
she brings them around to me to read them again because she just, I think it's, and they're pretty, again, this book, pretty simple. She can actually read more, almost chapter books at this point.
But these are more visual. Number one.
Yeah, there's symbolism in them, and I think she really does
multiple
enjoy that.
Interpretations. And I would like to. I think that's why that's important to keep some of those type of books, because even though I'm entertained by reading this book,
100%,
and I think those are the books. Those are the keepers.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to this business of arting here. And materials, because not all charcoal is the same.
Somewhat, Rhonda. She just isn't a huge reader. I wish she would. We supply her with them. She will. There are certain ones, but she really likes. She likes the graphic novel ones, like the Hilda books, and she likes the story of them. Reading to her, she has some buddies that they're avid readers, like what P was. I think she's kind of acquired, and it is really difficult in this day and time to keep the attention and the, your brain just operates differently. I know my brain does. I know P's brain operates completely different after we have had so much access to the digital world. Whether that's just even through watching videos or YouTube or just the phone, all of it really does affect that. And
it doesn't. And
I don't know,
as you age, your eyesight, when you can't see, you can't read. And I'm so happy to have my eyes back, because I've been reading more, and going in the car and reading. But Van's back to driving now. The medication that he was on when he was in the hospital, he's no longer on that. So that's sort of freed up. We don't worry so much about that. So I can have him drive, and I can read. And a lot of times I'll read to him. I don't know that he always appreciates it, but
sometimes,
yeah,
we're affecting change where we can.
Absolutely. And I'm reading, I'm reading 3 or 4 books at once, because it just depends on my mood what I pick up to read. And the one that I have in the car, one of them is about how the Constitution, how it actually came about, and all the different iterations. It wasn't just they sat down and wrote it one afternoon and, published it up and, sent it on. It was months, years in the making, and a lot of discussion and a lot of sort of frictional discussion. People would get angry with each other, but then they would still come back together because they knew they had to produce this document. And there were things that were left out because of the fractionalization that would have been caused by having something in or taking something out. But it's a very interesting book to read. I will I can't remember even who wrote it right now. Goldstein. Anyway, it's a really, really good book. And I'm also reading Nexus by Harari.
That one.
And it's I have to stop and not read it for a while because it's very disturbing. It makes me
it's not happy.
It makes me really sad.
Yeah.
And so I have some other books that are a little more lighthearted that I read and in the interim. But anyway, I'm happy to be able to read. Yeah. Okay, I can read on this here. It says it's Winsor Newton, artist charcoal. Fusons pour Arty.
Yeah, Marshall Markle says yes, Nexus, intense but great. Yeah, it really is. It's just it's heavy. It's heavy.
This is vine charcoal. Okay, this is also vine charcoal. But this is this one up here, you can see. Winsor Newton soft dark gray. And this is the alternatives down here. You can see there is a difference. So sometimes you do get what you pay for. And the Winsor Newton, the other thing I noticed about it was that not only is it darker, and this is just a dark gray, this isn't black. So you can get the Winsor Newton soft in a black. Anyhow. So then also what Sonia, our art fairy godmother, sent was soft pastels in the neutral range from white. And white is really cool because you can use white on black paper. And it's kind of cool. And it comes, and with all the sticks completely intact, and I broke this one because I wanted to, demonstrate that you can. These are the best for frottage because you get a nice, and you put them on the side and you can get this. But then these little tools that Sonia sent, these little jobbers, are blenders. This is the rubbery end. And you do know that you have to do some kind of sealing.
Yeah.
If you want it to stay where it's supposed to be. And she also sent some of that, and we haven't tried it out, Sonia, because it requires going outside to do it. I don't recommend doing any of that.
With any of the aerosol kind of business, even though this stuff really it works, it works well. But yeah, you can take this outside, let it sit for a bit. Even when we did the one book that I sprayed with Rust-Oleum, or actually, sorry, the Krylon stuff. But it is very similar. It smells terrible. I put it in a can with baking soda for like a week because I couldn't stand it being near me.
Yeah.
But that was the Krylon. Krylon, like, that stuff smells. I don't know what the smell. We haven't tried this one out yet.
Yes.
But I think that we should on the stuff that you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And
the package of the blenders. Did I?
Here it is.
Yeah. There you go. And I haven't put any of those links or anything.
Oh, and Mariah, can you get the little round cleaner?
Oh, yes, the Jeanette. And I'll tell you, I've been using the one for my makeup. Oh, that thing is fabulous. She sent us two for a reason. I got one for makeup. You got one for your, pastel
cleaning business. Up my
Where is it?
I thought that they were in the same box with the paints.
Is it still okay?
I don't know.
Yes, it is. This thing is fabulous.
Okay, so this little thing is called Cosmetic Brush Cleaning Box. and you just,
It's got this rough, spongy thing in there. Mm-hmm.
Cleans it up.
Yeah.
And works for brushes too, I'm assuming.
Yes. I'm.
Anyway, I'm keeping that with these so that I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And thought that was really brilliant, because that's one of my problems with that stuff, is that it always, you can't go to the next one. Remember when I was doing that with and I'm assuming that, this comes out and you can wash it up.
Mm-hmm.
And start over again.
Izzy wanted to know that if and when the sponge goes bad, she could have a little tin.
Izzy did?
I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Oh, and what's she going to do with it? How many tins does she have?
She has boxes and tins full of tins in her room. She's a little collector.
And is Jocelyn here today?
No. I think she usually watches on replay.
Okay.
But we did, and I messaged her.
Oh,
but
you
I
did?
do need to put that video. I have so many things to do.
Anyway, we videoed Izzy opening it, and she did amazingly well, because she'd been to an all-day birthday party.
Yeah, that was very late at night.
At the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And in Fort Worth, so it was a drive back. Mm-hmm. But she was really excited. They work
really well, don't they, Margie?
Her late
They are very similar.
Birthday. What?
You and the baby.
BS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know that I need to. Oh, here, I can do this. Let me show you this. Okay, here. Remember, this is Degas Fixative cow stuff. And I always kind of take my fingernail and scrape off the whatever's collected there. Okay, now you can tell. Did you see how it just instantly went? So it's getting some stuff out there. But let's just take this down here and see. Pretty darn good. Look at that. I mean, there's still a little bit. And I think the thing is, you let that dry and you add another. But this doesn't have... I mean, I can smell it a little bit, but it's very, very faint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, I need to do that to my book, but I will do that later. Okay.
Oh, the brand of the sponge thing. Can you hold the little hoodie-doo up there? Because I haven't put this in the deal, because, again,
It's Chicano. And look at that cool little...
I don't know if that's what it is, but I love it.
I think that's a G.
Yeah, I just don't...
Chicano.
I think it's funny to think about who comes up with these names, because I would love to be in those meetings, is really all I'm saying about
it's
that.
It's made in China, and there's a whole bunch of Chinese.
Yeah. And I think they're just kind of like, that sounds fancy. Let's do that.
Well, anywho.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah. Oh, bye, Sophia. Thank you for hanging.
Okay, so, case in point here. It's not going anywhere, because it has the acrylic paint on top of it. So the impression that you're getting.
Totally, Eddie.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever told y'all about, like, there was this convenience store in Carrollton. And it was called Tony C's. But we always thought that, because, like, it was an Asian family that owned it. And I was just positive that it really was, like, supposed to be Tony C, like, kind of thing. But that was the best, like, because they're like, these people in Texas aren't going to get it. So let's just call it Tony C's.
Yeah.
I just always thought that was funny, too.
All right, I'm trying to get my trinkets in there. Little thing, because when they fall down in between the...
But you know what? I still remember the name. So, well done.
Yeah.
They were super sweet people that worked there,
This was in my, what you call those things? Fortune cookie. This week, let go of what no longer serves you.
There you go.
I thought that was be prepared to modify your plan came from
a fortune cookie.
Fortune cookie. So I'm going to
Some of our best marketing things come from fortune cookies.
Thank God we go to Asian restaurants.
Yeah. And then, wasn't it, I think Maya sent us a bag full, remember?
Oh, yes. Okay, so see, I put it on here, and then I come over here to my...
Yes, Paula, yes.
I can't ever get rid of these because I'll have to take all of my little fortune cookie sayings off of the rotisserie here.
Probably Becky, but she'd probably drive us crazy while doing all that.
What?
Making beads.
Oh, yes, she gets those out, and she's just... Yeah, it's painful. Okay, I'm putting my pencils over yonder here. I don't know, we may get them back out, but for right now, I think we're just going to do a little...
It is really best to, like...
gel plating. And Sonia, thank you for the just... Metallics. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Ah, good job, Julie, and hello and welcome.
All right, I've got to see what I've got on the
We encourage the pinky hello hands.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, okay. Now, this has got a wrinkle in it, which will probably manifest itself as a giant no paint thing.
Oh, bye, Diane. Thanks for hanging. Yes, and happy Father's Day to the fathers. I haven't told Brad happy Father's Day yet.
Oh, and this is kind of interesting. Look at what the... Okay, see that?
Uh-huh.
That was because it wasn't pushed down on the...
Oh, and bye, Tammy.
Plate there. But that's okay. So that's the back side of this. And remember, this one has that border inspired by Carrie's borders. Of course, it doesn't look anything like his, and I didn't measure. I did use a ruler, though.
To tear things with. Not to measure. Oh, Cheryl says it looks very celestial.
Very celestial, doesn't it?
You have about 23 minutes.
Holy moly, are you kidding me?
We had a lot of discussion
I haven't even done anything with my...
Anything.
And I've got stuff to pull here.
Well,
I'm going to leave that on there because I kind of like that. It looks like a...
who's it? What's it?
An eel. Eating
an eel.
I don't know, a mussel.
So which stencil was that white one? That is Bramble Branches by Lucy Ames. Eddie says pull it or lose it.
Yeah. Oh, every time I use these plates that are, like goo.
She's about to lose it for sure.
I'm about to lose it.
I think they might just need to be retired.
I just am not ready to
give up on them. I understand.
Because I'm going to have to take one of my larger, because remember, this is the 8x6. They don't make 8x6s. Nobody makes 8x6s.
But she loves that little weird size.
I love this weird size. I use it all the time. And I think one of these days, probably I'm going to rip this plate, getting the thing off of it, so I won't have to make a decision about.
Oh, this is. I can't tell you how that's really a ethos.
Okay, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do that. That's just too painful to watch.
Nobody should watch that.
Nobody should have to watch that.
Yeah.
I am very sad about that. I don't know what this one is. Oh, this is one of our stick ones. Oh, yeah, it's also... And remember, this is another one that I tried to get off here the other day. See how this is tearing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This may be its last.
So I'm curious. All the ones that have gone sticky weird, are those ones that we cut?
Is that true?
That's what I'm asking. Is that true?
I don't know. We'll have to take it.
Because maybe that's why they tell you not to cut them up. Maybe there's some release of... That seems very odd.
Yeah, it seems odd.
This
and
cutting
this is one of the sticky ones. Is this one? Yeah, I can tell.
That's one of the cut ones.
See, you can tell by that edge there. It's really hard to cut them.
Most of her cut ones are not sticky, so
Okay.
But these are the oldest ones.
Some of the oldest ones. Yeah, because we got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Bye, Nina. Thanks for hanging.
All right. No, I think we're
Bye, Rosemary.
We're on to bigger and better things here.
Can you wet it? No, it really doesn't have anything because she's even like conditioned it and done all kinds of things to it. We're just really not sure.
Yeah, I've oiled them up.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it messes with the structural integrity over time. So that's what
Paula said. It's like chicken livers, bra enhancers. Just let them go, sister. I don't know if I agree with that, but yeah, I do see the analogy there. Oh, Laszlo is going out to get my sweetie a cake. We love cake for Pop's Day.
Nice.
Are we having cake?
Oh, now you're into the Father's Day thing, if it's for cake.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should go out and get Brad a cake.
I
don't think we need cake, but...
Well, need and want, is two different things. Mm-hmm. I love both sides of this a lot, but I don't like this. The white edge.
See, I think you're onto something there, Yonka.
What?
She says that she lost a couple of hers after leaving them in the sun. One melted down and the other two got very sticky. Eventually got rid of them. See, I think being in this window at certain times of the year, especially in, they have had more exposure to sun. So over time, that has created that situation. And they were there early on whenever there was more sunlight coming through the racking system versus now. There's less coming through.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
It's something.
Something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly something to think about. All right. Well, we'll contemplate more of that later on. Mm-hmm. I just want to get something down here. We've got to do a little gel plating today. We've done all this blah 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 blah
Kim,
blah.
that is just the homemade ones. You can melt them down and re-pour them and do all that business. These are store bought,
and we don't think you can do that.
We're quite positive. Please don't put them in the microwave.
Really?
Don't you dare put that damn thing in the microwave.
Well, I'm not going to, but I want you to tell me why.
Because the ones that are commercially made are made with like plastics.
Bad stuff?
Yeah, I would assume.
Now, I don't know if that's going to do what I wanted it to do.
Yes, and that is very true, Candy. She says those polymer stamps are affected by the sun. I've seen quite a few people talk about, like, if they've left them out or, they have, like, exposure to the sun, that they kind of melt down and goo up. So, yeah.
Well, I kind of like that.
Susan,
I mean, it's very subtle.
She's here for the cake.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I like it, and I love that.
Yeah.
Business there. Okay, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and remember when I was doing Scraffitos?
Yes.
Business. Pardon me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do...
Yeah, she is.
What is it? What?
Jennifer says, but he's thinking about it.
I am thinking about it.
Well, then you better just go, you need to go thrifting and find some old microwave that you can hook up in the garage.
Ugh.
Do not use our food microwave.
Okay. I agree with that.
Good.
Because I don't want to be eating my gel plate.
No, or whatever chemicals get. Because they even say that, like, if you were doing, like, polymer clays and things of that nature.
Yeah, remember we decided, that's why we did the,
Yes, because we didn't want it in the oven.
Okay, I'm going to go on the back side of this food. Because it's got a lot of whatever area.
Yeah.
Took away all my things because most of them they had really good parts to them.
Oh, Carla, that is, she said, she doesn't know who said this, but it's, definitely worth saying. I wish dogs lived longer and cake didn't make you fat.
Yeah.
Love cake.
And assholes died earlier. Just add that.
That's from P.
Look at that, how cool that looks. All right, and look at this.
I'm trying, y'all. I really am.
Oh, I love it.
I know some folks don't think I am, but I am.
Hey, Christy thought I was amusing.
She did. She finds us amusing together.
Okay, dude went by. Can I tell that? She's hesitating. Okay, while she's hesitating, I'm going to put this back down and there are, you know, it just cracks me up because there's always these people at these protest rallies that just, you know, and they're usually male. I'm not saying always.
There were some, you know, female participants as well. Yeah.
And there usually involves a pick 'em up truck.
A very big one that has been altered in ways that are compensating. This is our belief. Compensating for other things in their life. That does not mean everyone, because I know some very lovely folks that have their things all jacked up and all kinds of things, and they are very lovely people. Just saying.
Yeah, you shouldn't make generalizations, but I'm just making observational comments.
That in this particular situation,
yes.
It seemed to be true. That there was compensation.
Yes, not only in the size of their truck, but in the sound of their truck. They seem to associate some very aggressive, growly. And I said, you know, I think they need to have that vehicle worked on. Mariah looks at me like...
Christy did.
Oh, Christy didn't.
Because I wasn't there.
They do that on purpose. I said, you're kidding me. I said, those things used to be illegal. I mean, you could get arrested out on the street if your vehicle was not in compliance with the general,
ordinance.
Anyway, they rev up their engines and it just makes me absolutely, I just think it's so funny because, you know, and they crackle and pop and carry on and then they peel out. And I just think that that's so interesting. Anyway, I'm really liking the other side of this. Quite nice. Moving right along. Okay, on this side, I'm going to use this.
Oh, we love German chocolate cake.
Oh my gosh, I love German chocolate. I used to make German chocolate cake. Did I tell you about the summer?
Yes.
In between my junior and senior year.
And your dad got fat.
Because I cooked every day. We had relatives from California come in. And so I made 100, over 100 meatballs.
Rhonda says it's not, and we know Rhonda, we love Rhonda. She says P would not like our vintage Camaro. See, they got it all.
Yes.
See? That's why I say you can't make those general, you know.
Yeah, you should be careful making
sometimes people are just, you know.
Statements like that because there's, But if they're also flying a Confederate flag, that kind of gives you another...
That does. I feel like that really does.
A little bit of insight into their political preferences.
Well, I don't know that it's even just... I think it's a... again, I don't believe that it's a political thing. I think it is a human being thing. It's a... I think people should be nice to one another, and for whatever reason, those folks don't really think that all folks should be categorized in such a way. That's my best way to put it.
Well, I'm just, you know,
you're making this very hard on me today.
We always have disclaimers on this channel about, you know, they are my opinions. They do not represent the, what did they call it?
All of us here.
The PM Artist Studio.
As a whole.
Is solely my opinion. I'm entitled to that.
Observations. I think they're more
observational.
Because I don't think that you wholeheartedly believe in some of those things. It's just that is what you have observed.
All right, we're going to go with some of this stuff that, you know, I put the balls in.
Okay. I got 10 minutes.
I think this is the one.
Yes.
No, that wasn't it. Here it is.
Lucy,
oh, well, we'll try this one and then, because we've got it out there. And it does somewhat neutralize the effect of the yellow. I don't know that it's going to make that much difference. But we shall see. Sometimes one does not know.
What is that? I don't even know what that is. Bara breath?
What?
Bara breath. Good Dundee cake. I don't know what that is either, but I mean, I'm assuming it's cake. It's probably good. Not all cake's good though.
Yeah. Now, you know, there are just bad cakes because, you know, they're just sucky ingredients.
All right. So, Sandy wants to know, which golden paints do you think are a must?
Oh, absolutely. Transparent red iron oxide. Okay, here we go.
Green gold.
Green gold.
That one I feel like.
Now, see, this is getting very juicy, so I'm not sure what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
And we just keep, you know, mushing about the middle. It doesn't want to take the paint out where the paint already is. And my poor
fives
brayer is
job Mo.
needing some attention. Now, this really is not recommended, what I'm doing right now. You should really wait in between your, you know, give it a bit of a dry. But I'm pressed for time. I've got like 9 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, and that's a good call. So Mo did put a link. We do have a list. I think those are still pretty applicable. He may have altered maybe, you know, a couple of those over the years, but Mo did put that link via Nightbot there to the list on our website.
No.
But then Lexi makes a very wonderful point. She says, I think that any of the transparent colors will get you a lot of mileage. That is very true.
Absolutely. Okay, can you see? And this is what happens when you muss about and, you know, whatever. Just make sure you do some more of it. And I'm going to take this off because I feel like they're, oh my goodness, look at the depth of that. Now this here is also a very dangerous move, but I've got to capture that. And I can't put my paper down because if I do, it's just going to suck up all that good stuff on there. So, that's why you usually wait for something to dry. But we didn't have that luxury because if we let this dry, it wasn't going, I was going to have to pick it up with something else. And of course, that is not going to be a good thing. Let's turn it over and see what's, oh, look at that.
Look at that.
And you can also see where you need to do a little bit more.
Push it.
Push it.
Coercing. 7 minutes, Pete.
Well, I think it already dried on me there. Okay, let's pull it up and see what happens here.
Oh.
No, can't. Okay, it's wet. It's too wet. If I pull it up,
too wet to handle. Sometimes things are too hot to handle.
Yeah, well, this is too wet. It's got to dry. Put that back over there. All right, what do I have back behind me here?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? This back out because I'm
thinking discuss that with your husband, Rhonda.
Pick up some good stuff on the back of this. I don't know, maybe on the front. I just really don't like this pink out here.
Sweet.
Don't. It's not that I dislike pink. I just don't like it here. It doesn't reflect my true feelings about.
Yeah, that's true. There are 3 cats involved. Yes.
What?
Oh, there's just. Paula has, Rhonda has offered Eddie a place, and I asked her if she'd talk to her husband about that first, you know.
All right, I'm going to go with my this one. Which, remember, this is the one that I put the balls into. And then I'm going to leave it down so it's also going to pick up whatever mucky muck is on the plate. And hopefully pull it up.
He does cook.
I was going to do the other side of this, but I don't like this side anyway.
Yeah, I needed the next thing. Like, it was too...
Yeah, it was just...
too pinky and happy for you. Yeah, you got 4 minutes. I think that would definitely have to be like a TV show, Paula.
What is it?
If Paula and Eddie have to live together.
Oh, yeah, one of those reality things where, you know, they watch you go to the bathroom and everything.
Well, I don't want to know. See, I don't. She's weird.
Oh, my.
That looks lovely.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, that was my experience making biscuits too, Lucy. Like, hard as a rock. The dog wouldn't eat them.
Carmichael said, terrapins.
Terrapins?
Turtles. I told Ruby that once about her biscuits. Yeah. It really did hurt her feelings. Yeah, and she didn't.
You can't just, you know, be judging people's biscuits.
She talked about it many times later.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on there?
I don't know, but I've got some air holes here.
Okay.
That need ironing out.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even though, you know, they want to lift there, if you get after them right away, you can still make them stick.
Yeah.
I mean, they still might ripple up a bit.
Yeah. But
you're getting some paint on them. All right, let's give her one more gander here since we're just about out of time anyway. All we can just look at that and look how wonderful that is. And you saw it here. You saw how this evolved. It wasn't just like, you know, an overnight sensation.
Well, I mean, it was in a couple streams, but, you know.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, she said air. Yep, air.
What?
Air holes.
Yeah, bubbles.
Bubbles.
Also but I think that I have taken care of them, even though they did occur. I do think I'm going to be able to get. This is how my mic gets just because I'm whacking.
So you're wrangling that thing?
Wrangling a gel plate.
Oh, yes.
There is some awfully nice stuff down here on the bottom of this that I might actually try to pick up with a strip of something. Yes. Not tape, because I don't like the tape. You're just so limited. But see that stuff that I left on there from that last print that I pulled off, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to leave that."
Yes, that was smart.
Wasn't that a good call?
You do good work, P.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, my Arty friends. This was one of those streams that, you know, we don't do this often in this, you know, to this degree, but I do think that it is important. And y'all showing up, hanging out, having the discussion that you did. I know it was a little hard today. I appreciate it. It was. It is seen. It is noted. And y'all just keep showing up. We're doing the good work.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. So, all right. I will be back tomorrow. The boys will be here. I'm gonna make earrings for P. The lips.
Are you really?
Well, I'm gonna stamp them and color them, and then, you know, you can
make have them. Some of that stuff. You found your stuff.
What are you talking about? My stuff?
Shrinky dinky.
Oh, I'm not shrinky. No, they gotta be the big lips. Like if you're gonna do it, just listen. Patricia.
Yeah, I should just go hold off.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it'd be nice if you had little lips at the top and big lips at the bottom. You know, I
don't know where
put them together with.
If you can find the shrinky dink today, great.
I don't know where it is. Just you have it.
All right. If you remind me to look for it, I have an idea.
I know
where
you
it might
have a
be.
lot on the.
But I got to do a lot of things, laundry and things, and packing and I don't know if Hobo Village can, you know, it has been resurrected and I need to get it out of my living room because it's sort of stresses.
We're not going to have any parties while you're gone. So people won't need to sit in the living room. It doesn't bother me at all. I love the floaty on top.
Yeah, she's like, did you see?
She's got a little pergola situation down there.
I don't know who she's trying to invite in with that, but
okay.
I don't know.
Sticking around for round 2, Kim and Eddie.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Be there, be square. Okay.
Till then.
Love y'all.
Like a
long haul.
bye.
Adios.